Alright, fuckers and fuckettes. This here is how you change your front sprocket. This is a Honda CM400T, but most bikes ain't that much different. Pull off whatever covers over your sprocket and call it good. And I got a screwdriver stuck in there. I left the chain on it. And that's so I can break these bolts loose without having to fight that fucking sprocket with a screwdriver in there long ways. So I'm taking this old one out anyway. Might as well go on ahead and, as long as I'm taking it out, go on ahead and swap these things out. By the way, I was serious about trading.
I was thinking about it. I mean, I don't know if you still want to, but
He was just saying that.
even with all this crap going on that, I'm thinking about it. I don't know, I've grown a bit attached to the Honda, but that's the Suzuki gets a little more than I want. Kind of a grimy ass part.
Yep. So's your case here.
Yeah, it's pretty grimy.
Now, before you go putting all this shit back together, fuckers and fuckettes, I made these people go get some brake parts cleaner and some rags. I'm gonna scooch this camera back when it starts squirting it.
Oh damn, that's a lot of buildup.
Oh yeah, and your Stator here?
Yeah.
That's why I made her get the emery cloth. I'm gonna clean that up. And there's not supposed to be oil in the compartment, but there is, so that tells me I need to replace the seal right there. The output shaft seal looks good. Shift shaft seal looks good. That's just chain oil.
So I just got a few more parts I need to pick up for next time
Yeah, and I need to scooch this camera back so I don't fuck it up.
Cellophane, just wrap it around.
Give me some of them rags.
Oh, I can grab my hand.
No, the small ones. By the way, you know AutoZone recycles Advanced recycles rags, right?
I didn't know that, but I do now.
And for those of y'all pussy motherfuckers out there worried about getting cancer and shit, don't get that brake parts cleaner on your hand. Wear some rubber gloves or something. Look at all that shit just pouring out of there. Take your rag, wrap that sumbitch around like that. Them little holes in there. Keep twisting the opposite way. You just twisted the rag onto the screwdriver. And I got too fat of a screwdriver to be doing this. Damn, that gives you some leverage to dig that shit out of there. It's just like cleaning your bong. Get all that nasty shit out of there. Scrape's about the same. Leave shit all over your hands about the same. And yeah, I'm spraying my rag too. Go through two cans of brake cleaner, brake parts cleaner, cleaning this shit up, deal with it. It's worth it. You don't want that sand getting in between your sprocket and your seals, and you got all that nasty fucking chain oil in there from God, I rode this thing 3 or 4 years before we parked it. In case y'all are wondering why I'm talking about trading the kid for this one, is he'd bought this one off me. I didn't really have it for sale. But I had that Suzuki out fucking around with it. It ain't really for sale either. That was kind of one of them deals where the kid almost got hit by a bird. And he wanted a bigger bike with a bigger fairing, so I just kind of traded him, and that was all good.
Was that how you came by that Suzuki?
Yeah. Let me kick the camera off a second. But yeah, he got that gray Goldwing. Okay, so now I'm still cleaning on this shit. A little trick. Oh, a whole lot. What you up to?
I've been all over the country, so I haven't
Let me kill this camera again, fuckers. Yeah, okay, fuckers and fuckettes. Now, he's got this cleaned out pretty good. I cleaned up a good chunk of it. I made him clean up the rest because I split my fucking fingernail in half doing that shit. That right there in the end.
Oh yeah,
Split under the cuticle. That shit hurts.
I believe it.
Doesn't bleed or nothing, but damn, that hurts. But anyway, I'm not going to take my old chain off right away. This old chain is not going to touch this sprocket. We've got a new chain sitting here we're going to put it on. But when I put my sprocket back on, I just hit the splines there. Gently wiggle it in, let it stay down a little bit. I'll take my retainer clip, give it a good shot here. Doesn't appear to have an oil leak on this bike. I think that's all just chain lube because whoever's been servicing this bike never cleaned that shit out and it just got nasty over the years.
I wonder if some of it's a drip down from what's coming out of the carb.
Could be. But no, because you wouldn't have got the grime in there.
Okay.
And if anything, that would have cleaned off that grease.
Okay.
Gas would have cleaned it off. Yeah, we got to do some carb work on this one too. He's leaking between the bowls. That little seal on the tubes. But anyway, now that I have that on there, clean up these. I always like to make sure that the threads on the bolts are clean. I don't really care about the heads, but I like to make sure that my threads are clean if I'm reusing them. I don't like reusing them. But for a bike this week, it's not going to make that much difference. So I will reuse them on this one, but you know, make sure your threads, clean them out good. If you have to run a tap down them or a dye down them, do it. Make sure that they're good and clean, because you might be the one stuck getting the sumbitch off next time. And if that's the case, trust me, you want to make sure you get them clean this time. And whenever you got shit open, you know, and you see shit all nasty and stuff, you clean it up. I mean, there's no point in putting it back together dirty. Like his Stator here, I'm going to take some emery cloth to this, clean it up. I've got some of that Honda coating shit. It's not paint, they call it a coating, but anyway, I've got some of that shit. I'll clean this up with emery cloth and then hit it with a touch before I put this cover back on. And I've checked all his wires visually and everything. I've inspected under here. I've looked for leaks, you know, coming out of the crank seal. There's none. Shift shaft seal is suspect, but I very seriously doubt that it leaked more than a day after we fired this bike back up. Cam chain tensioner, everything sounds fine. Valves sound like they stayed perfect. The carbs, we knew there was a leak. We knew there was a problem all along. And anyway, get that tightened down there. What do I do with that 10? That's a 14.
Yep.
Got a 10 on that rapid socket. My speed grab.
I don't know where that is.
I used it. I was swapping ignition boxes.
No, that's a name on that guy.
Here, I was over there. There it is.
Oh, I stepped right over it.
Hell, dude, it was right there by you. Snake. I get to call Snake on him because if it was a snake, it would have bit him.
Wouldn't be the first time I've been bit by a snake.
All right. Crank them good and tight. Now, you want to know how to get those torqued right, and somebody can go behind you and check it with a torque wrench every time, and you'll be right. That little edge, and this right here. Get yourself back away from it. Just run that right through there. Now go to your center. Promise you that's dead nuts on. Bring the other nut up your same way because you want this screwdriver in your way. That's what stops you from putting too much. Well, it works for me. I don't know about you. I mean, for all I know, you might be a Democratic Party member and not have the sense to realize that you probably should use a torque wrench if you have to, but like I say, you can go behind me and check me. I'm pretty much right on it. I might be a half a pound over at the most. There we go. That baby girl ready to go. Now, before I put my cover on here, I'm going to run my new chain in and just leave it laying out the bottom and over the top of the swing arm. But I'm going to get this other chain out the way first. I'm just going to bust a master link, and that'll make a nice center for a wind chime. I got to find a couple more sprockets though. I got a new centerpiece, and his old chain is going to be a swing chain. I make these wind chimes with old exhaust with mufflers and shit, and then my centerpieces, I'll hang these on a marine swivel, and that's my centerpiece. That's my banger, what bangs on the pipes for my wind chimes. You think I'm kidding? I really
No,
do.
I think that's great action. That's awesome.
Dude, I got people that fucking, they want me to take engines, nice ones.
Okay.
I mean, they're paying me real money to polish these things out to mirror. And I put them on feet. Just a regular square aluminum frame foot, aluminum straight from Home Depot. And I make the engine mount to where it's sitting just perfect. At its best looking, not its best operational position, just where it looks the best to me. And then I make little bronze arms coming off the top of the engines. I mount them to any bolts I can. And I put a sheet of plate glass over the top of them. The tempered glass that's not as prone to breaking. And they've got a engine coffee table. People love that shit, dude.
That's actually kind of cool.
They've had me make lamps like that. And, I mean, you know, the little end tables out of little single stroke 125s and shit. They've had me make lamps out of them.
That's cool.
And it's amazing what they pay, and the prices come out of their mouth. It's what they're offering to have me do it.
Yeah, sure.
But you know, it's a couple of months of polish work. So I mean, shit doesn't come cheap if they were trying to get somebody else to do it either. But for me, it's fun. I love doing shit like that. Especially the ones where they just come in and they say, hey, look, here's an engine, and it's not so bad. It's not really pitted, you know. You can just polish it out in a few days and then start mirroring. Take about 2 weeks and mirror everything, even inside the fins. I love the ones that go easy like that. I mean, I get a lot of them. They bring them in, not a lot. I mean, I probably do 2 or 3 a year these days. I used to do about 20 a year. But they used to bring them in, and it'd be 7 or 8 days of polishing just to get the pits out. You know, half the time you're tempted to just sand the fucking things down. But anyway, we'll holler at y'all fuckers and fuckheads later. I forgot that goddamn thing was still on.